Well, hey, man, it's Jamie. That's me here. Welcome back to my channel. Now let's get into Married to Medicine. Hey, y'all. Okay, let's go ahead and kick off this episode just as they started the episode off with the guys. Okay, so originally we had Cecil and Eugene. Eugene came over, but Eugene, he couldn't come over empty-handed, so he had to bring him some brown liqueur, honey, okay, to decorate the rest of his bar. Let me say this: I really enjoyed seeing the guys. Let me just speak on Eugene because I don't really see nobody else with a man cave, but I really not Eugene. I'm messing up that. I really enjoy seeing Cecil have his man cave. There's something about a man having his own space, okay? Because I feel like the whole house is really the woman's. So it's good for you to go over there in your corner and have your space. I love that he has a whole area that he can use to like entertain his people. I just love that. I think that's just so cool, okay? So seeing them come over, all good, okay? They talk about the couples night. Eugene really enjoyed himself at the couples night. He thought it was gonna go left, okay, with Contessa and Scott, but it actually did not, and it ended up being a great night. He says they should have one again. Now, he did say that hell must have frozen over and that pigs must be flying now. Because now Contessa and Toya are back on talking terms and everything appears to be good. So that's good for now. Okay. Now Scott ended up joining the guys. He joins the guys. Eugene asked him, like, how is everything going over at the office? And Scott says, everything is going well at the office. I recently had an interview, is what he said. He said, now this woman is actually bad. The woman looks good, but he interviewed the lady, and unfortunately, Contessa did not. So because of that, he feels as though Contessa is not going to hire the woman because of how attractive she looks. And my thing is this: he ended up showing them pictures of the woman in his phone, but I felt like not so much as the fact that you're a married man and then you over here showing pictures to your friends of this lady you just interviewed. But it's like, I would definitely feel a way if I was interviewed by you and then you saved my pictures in your phone to lust over. Okay, like I would feel a way about that, because even if I wanted to have a professional workspace, you're showing me that I can't even really have that. Okay, because you over here lusting over me. Like I don't know, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And not as if she knew, but I feel like watching this show now she does know. So I hope that she's not working with him. But I just kind of felt a way about that. And he felt so comfortable to show it off to the guys. It just made me look at him with a side eye. Like I didn't like that at all. And you're right, Contessa is definitely not going to hire her. And why would you want to hire somebody that you lusting after or you think is really attractive and she's bad or whatever? Like, you don't want that type of stuff around at your job. Like, I mean, I don't know, like you can't control how nice looking a person is or their beauty or anything like that, but you should be able to be in a space where you can keep those type of feelings or lustfulness or whatever in check. And just off of him being able to show this image off to people makes me feel like he can't keep it in check, and I don't really like that. Okay, but we gonna go ahead and we're going to move on because I spent too much time on that, okay? So Cecil asked him about couples night, what his thoughts were about couples night. Eugene says that, yeah, Contessa told us that you go from 0 to 100 real quick. And so, of course, the guys started laughing at the fact that women like to over-exaggerate things sometimes. And Cecil asked him about counseling. He's like, okay, so what are your thoughts about counseling? And it seems like Scott is actually open to counseling. At least that's how he's portraying it out to the guys, because Cecil said you should just tell her that you're willing to do counseling and it's all good. It don't have to be that big of an issue. And I feel like he's trying to make it seem like maybe to them he wants to do counseling, but what we're hearing somewhere else is that he doesn't want to do counseling at all. So that leaves me like, wait, what's going on with you, Scott? But okay, so I do appreciate the fact that Cecil kept it real with him and told him about how he has to alter some things about himself or change some things, like in order to compromise within his relationship and maintain his marriage. Like, I appreciate that. Scott says that he's a person that doesn't necessarily like change. And he said, well, you're going to have to change that about yourself. Okay, you're going to have to figure that out real quick. If you really want your marriage like you say you do, you're going to have to make some changes to things. I mean, Cecil had to let go of one of his old friends, one of his good homegirls. He had to let her go because Miss Simone was no longer having it. She was like, it's either her or it's this marriage. So he had to realize how good he got it, and he had to peace out that friend. So it's unfortunate, but you got to do what you got to do if this is something that you really want. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to Anila. Anila takes her nanny and her cute little boy over to the new house so they can check it out and have a tour. She walks through the space, shows her the kitchen, shows little man where his room is going to be. She also walks through her own closet and see how fabulous it is. Even though I was sitting up here like, honey, I don't know what she got that closet for, girl, because all your fashions that you've shown us have been terrible. But I guess, girl, you're going to fill it up with a bunch of junk. All right, then, honey, it's in your closet. You can do what you want to do with it, but okay. So she goes in the closet and they're talking. She's talking to the nanny. She said, I feel like I've accomplished something. I guess looking at this house and it being built and being what it is that she wants it to be makes her feel like she's accomplished something. Because for a good amount of her life, she felt as though I guess she wasn't accomplished. She goes back to issues that she had at childhood and how people made her feel like she was just so different from them. Like she just had all these issues or whatever going on within her. She brings up her daughter and talks about how she thinks that her daughter may be the type of person that will hold in those type of things, whatever it is that she's feeling about herself. And the nanny is like, well, girl, she may withhold that information from you, but she ain't withholding a thing from me. You hear me? Because this little girl done told me she wants blue eyes and blonde hair, therefore she wants to be Caucasian. Okay. And Anila is kind of taken back in a little bit of shock. And I'm kind of like, I don't know why you think that why are you shocked by that? Because I feel like, look at the environment in the school system and the area that you have her in. All she sees is those type of individuals. So at some point, of course, she's going to want that. I had an ex-friend where her daughter was kind of dealing with the same thing, but she was much browner, very cute, beautiful girl, long hair, very cute girl. But her daughter even went through that phase, but that's all she really saw in her classroom. So at some point, that's probably what you're going to want to be like, the things that are constantly being put in front of your face. So I'm like, I don't know why you are surprised by her actions, but hopefully you can get to a place where you can correct those actions. And unfortunately, the good girl group that she has within Married to Medicine, none of them besides Contessa really have daughters, so maybe she can hang out with Contessa daughters a bit more, but who knows, she may get around them and she may also feel like she wants to be as dark as them and have more coarse hair and kinky hair like they do. Who knows? And I feel like she's just at that age where she's going to go through those little things where she's going to be second guessing and thinking about herself. But I think consistently and constantly, her parents and others around her should just continue to pour into her about how beautiful she is and how much they love her hair and this, that, and the other. So it's going to be a journey because kids definitely go through that phase where they don't like something about themselves, but continue to speak, positivity over them and into them. And I think that she's going to be just fine at the end of the day. She was made to be different. So it is what it is. But y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down on that below. I don't know if you guys have had kids like that have experienced that, or students that have experienced that, and what your advice would be for those children that are going through that, where they want to be of a different race. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. I want to get into Jackie and Simone. Y'all, I was so happy to see these two ladies have a sit down and eat lunch. It just, I don't know, it just took me back to the past, Jackie and Simone. So I was really happy about it. I was like, oh, look at them getting their friendship back on track, even though Funky Dineva did say, him and Quad said, honey, it's all fake. They not friends. But I will say in this moment, I appreciated this image that they were able to capture. And I hope that as the ladies are watching this, that they are feeling some type of way, a good way, about missing a friend and hopefully getting things back on track even more so. So they were happy. Simone brought Jackie lunch and she went over there to chat it up with her. Jackie said, girl, have you talked to Quad? She said, well, I talked to Quad about this whole town hall thing that I want her to be a part of. But that's really it. But I want to touch on Lisa Nicole, she says, because Lisa Nicole and her talk, because Lisa asked her to be a part of it so that she can help out and stuff. But Lisa been over here moving on her own, planning things on her own, sending out full letters and everything to individuals without Simone being a part of it. And she just asked Simone to be a part of a panel. And Simone is confused because she's like, ma'am, how does that work? Because you came to me and said that you want to do this together, this entire project together. Therefore, our names should both be on this paperwork. But you out here moving solo dolo. And I will say it could be a blessing in disguise. Who knows? Because on the next week's episode, we are going to see that there is going to be some type of investigation or something going on Lisa Nicole, where it's not going to look too good for her in the media. So maybe it's a good thing that Simone wasn't attached to Lisa at that time when that the original letters went out. But you know, we just gonna see, honey. Okay, they definitely Jackie said so because Simone felt as though Lisa was not cooperating and doing things collectively, which is what she approached her on. Jackie says, yeah, well, I guess we thought Heavenly was crazy at one point, huh? So they flash back to when Heavenly and Lisa got into it because they were supposed to be working on a project together. And then Lisa said, no, we're not. We were never partners. So this has been a long-standing history of Miss Lisa, okay? And as we speak on Heavenly, let's go ahead and discuss Heavenly and her son. So they recently bought this lake house, really nice lake house. Look at that. I'm like, girl, are y'all over there by Miss Cynthia? Y'all living next to Miss Cynthia, okay? Lake Bailey. What we gonna call this? Lake Heavenly? Lake Kynes, because they done bought a house on the lake, she and her son, $435,000. We learned that the mortgage is $1,800 a month. Now their plan is going to be to get it in good shape and to Airbnb that thing out. Okay, so they're gonna rent it out, and I think that that's gonna be great. Heavenly talking about her and her son talking about how they can renovate it for like $400 a night. I'm like, to me that's a lot. But somebody out there willing to pay it to be that close to the lake, honey, because I'm probably gonna rent somewhere else and just drive to the lake if it's like that. But somebody else is willing to pay that, so hey, I say go for it, okay? Her son has already gotten a head start on putting different, you know, furniture and stuff, getting the house all set up. So he's already got a head start. But Heavenly feels like it should look a little better than this. So he need to ease up on the decorating. Now he sits outside with his mom and just tells her how great of a mom she's been. And she almost teared up and said, you know, in the long run, like that's all I ever wanted for y'all was for y'all to be straight. I want my kids to be able to work hard or at least live a good life. But I also want them to know, you know, how to work hard and what it takes to have that great life. And I just thought that was so dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like her kids really are blessed. They got a doctor for a dad. They have a dentist for a mom. And then here it is. She's making even more moves in the like real estate area with her son, being able to invest in her son and making sure that he knows how to create wealth and stuff for himself as well as his family to come. So I just think that they are blessed. And shout out to Heavenly for out here making moves beyond Married to Medicine. Y'all know she just opened up her beauty supply store. I believe it's in South Georgia. So shout out to her. And I'm sure that's something that she probably is partnering with her daughter Alora. Is it Alora or Laura? But partnering with her daughter. And if not, her daughter's going to see how her mom got that started. And I'm sure that's something Heavenly's going to try to pass down to her daughter or whatever. So I just think that's awesome. So I'm like, girl, do your thing. And then I think her other son may have wanted to get into dentistry. So he comes to the office to work with her in dentistry. And I'm just like, Heavenly gets on my nerves sometimes. But this season, I am loving Heavenly. I am loving her. I'm loving seeing her and her interactions with her kids, bringing her kids into the show and showing them business and stuff. I wish we would have got the opportunity to see her build up and bring this beauty supply store into play, but maybe that'll be on next season or something like that. But I am loving it. And did y'all catch my video, my quick chat that I did with Portia as well as Toya and the reunion looks for Married to Medicine? Because Heavenly served. If you have not checked that video out, go ahead and check it out, honey, because Heavenly definitely served the girls up. So I was here for that. Heavenly asked her son about what type of woman he wants and does he want a woman like his mom. And I know he was sitting up there like, yes and no. Okay, you do play too much and you do have a nasty attitude at times. So I don't think I want that type of woman. But as far as the ambition and everything and the successfulness that you had, I think I want that type of woman. But then some part of me felt like, girl, how you know he want a woman? How do you know that's something that he wants? Because it seems like he was just, you know, like, yeah, mom, like what if he wants a guy? I would love to see if, no, I'm not wishing that on him, but if that's something that he wants, I want to see Heavenly's reaction to that. Okay. I'm sure she's gonna love him despite, you know, whatever. But that was the thing that popped in my mind, you know. But let's go ahead and move on to Contessa. So Contessa meets up with her life coach. She says even though her husband is not going to be a part of this journey, she's going to go full throttle for herself. And I'm over here like, as she should. as she should, move forward, okay, with your mental health, and let him do what he gonna do, okay? And it's gonna get to a point, unfortunately, where she's gonna evolve past him, because some of the triggers, some of the things that he do, it's not gonna be able to bother her, and she's going to get to a place where she's going to be even more comfortable actually walking away from the relationship, because she's going to know that she tried therapy and she tried other things to make this work, and it was just you that didn't want to work on any level. So that's where they at. So her therapist comes over and she asked her, what do you want to get from this sit down? She said, I want to get clarity, peace, and understanding. And the therapist said, okay, fine, that's something that I'm willing to give to you, but I want to know more about your childhood. Tell me about that. Contessa speaks on her mom having breast cancer and how she was sick earlier on, I believe like in her early 20s or late 20s or something. And she said, well, who was her caregiver during this time? Her children. Her children were the ones that had to look out for her, because their dad was out on doing drugs and stuff, and he just wasn't available to help support the mom. And from that situation, Contessa said that that's when she learned that she really can't rely on anybody. And the therapist asked her, you know, do you feel like you've messed up in any areas of your life? And she said, yeah, I feel like I messed up in my marriage. And she asked her, well, do you trust your husband with your heart? And she said, no. She said, I don't trust him with my heart. Like, how can I trust somebody with my heart when they just said that they was damn near done with me just because I chose to go off to school, you know, to better myself in some capacity, you know? So she's like, no, I don't think that I trust him with my heart. But I feel like it's bigger than that. I feel like it's not just because you went off to school. Yeah, he said he was almost done with your but he's not done. Okay, that he said almost. He didn't say he was done. He said he was almost, but y'all were still able to keep things intact. And that's what I mean. Contessa likes to hold on to stuff instead of working on moving forward and moving past some other things. So it makes me think you're saying that. But what's the bigger thing? You're saying that you don't trust him because he said he was almost done with you. But I feel like it could be more to the story. It could be more than that, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and move on to the rest. So she says that Contessa says she feels like her husband doesn't listen to her at all. Okay, the life coach said, well, I'm going to ask you this, or I'm going to bring this up because it's coming to me. Okay, and you just answer as you need to and just be honest. She says that she asked her, did you marry your husband? Contessa says, sometimes I feel that way. You know, she says Scott seems to come off as though he's unavailable. And that's how my dad was. My dad came off like that. And then the therapist told her, you know, have grace with yourself, you know, so that you know how to move accordingly, you know, throughout your marriage or whatnot. So, you know, always be able to give grace to yourself. And that's one thing my therapist will always tell me. Always give grace. Always give grace. Girl, sometimes it's hard trying to give yourself grace. Okay? I'm mad. Okay, I ain't got no mercy, I ain't got no grace, but that's something that I see that's reoccurring. Always give yourself grace, you know, because sometimes we can be very hard on ourselves, like so often, you know, and give ourselves, you know, just and give yourself a little grace, like it's okay, you know. You can only do what you could with what you have and what you knew. So it is what it is, you know. Sometimes all the issues ain't on you. It could also be on another person. So don't take fault on somebody else's actions. And it is what it is, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to Anila. Anila is in the kitchen with her kids and the nanny. She's speaking to them about school, wanting to know more about her daughter's day at school specifically. She pulls her daughter to the side to let her know, listen, you can talk to me about anything that anyone says or does to you. I am here. I'm an open book. I want you to be an open book. So don't ever feel like you can't come to mommy about something. She tells her how the nanny told her that you wanted to have, you know, blonde hair and blue eyes, you know. Why would you say that? And exactly what I was thinking, the little girl said, because that's all I see. Exactly. That's all she sees at school. She's like, everybody's white. And then her mama said, but everybody's not white. But I do like the fact that Anila was able to explain to her daughter that I too went through this at your age. So the little girl can kind of see a little bit that this is kind of common, but look at mommy. Mommy loves who she is and she's thriving and surviving out here. So it may have given her the opportunity to look at her mom in a better light and hopefully look at herself, you know, in a better light. So it was a good conversation, you know, that she was able to sit down and have with her daughter. So that was cool. Let's go ahead and move on to Lisa Nicole's town hall meeting, child. Okay, so Anila was the first person to get to the house. Anila get to the house and she starts showing Lisa some of the pictures that they took because she was like, I guess, rocking Lisa's clothing and she was going to do that advertising promo on IG or whatever. So that was cute. And then next person to arrive was Simone. Simone was all kinds of dry to me. She was very dry. She was throwing shade at Anila. I can't remember what Anila asked her. She asked her if she was going to do something. And she told her, girl, I was working, honey. Like some of us have jobs or whatnot, girl. So that's why she was late or something had been going on. So she threw shade at her. And Anila was trying to figure out, girl, what's going on with you? There's something wrong. I'm not really sure what it is. Like, tell me what's wrong. And she was like, well, she was like, I guess she didn't want to say. She said Anila told her, you look like you're mad or something like that, or you're sad. And Simone was like, sad? That's what you get from me, honey? Is that what you get? And I think Lisa said irritated or something like that. And Simone was like, yeah, you're right. I am irritated. So they wanted to know more, but Kari ended up showing up. But they got right back to the point after Kari arrived. Girl, what's going on? Simone told her, listen, my issue with you is the fact that you said that you and I were going to work together on this project, but you ran off on the plug twice, and you're already out there promoting and doing your job, and you're only putting your name on it, and you're not attaching me to it at all. So I have an issue with that. So if you're going to do something and say you want to do something as a team, then do it as a team. Stop being out here trying to operate and move how you want to move. Okay. So let's be clear about that, girl. I don't like that at all. So that's where they were. And it seems like Lisa Nicole heard what she said, and she accepted what she had to say, so we can move on. Now, Heavenly arrived. Some of the other ladies arrived too, but Heavenly arrived, but her flowers open, okay? Showing all her little cootie twat down there. So she had to go ahead and zip that up. But what I found funny was Lisa fake ass running up to Heavenly trying to hug on her. Girl, get off me. Get off me. Girl, I'm only here for my check. Move, girl. You can scoot back. Scoot it. Thank you. I was like, girl, no, she didn't come up on this lady knowing you was just talking about this lady not too long ago. So we get to the table. All of the ladies are sitting down, and Lisa Nicole is asked about the opportunity and whether or not this actually, Lisa opened up and said that she figured that this would be a great opportunity. She and Simone thought this would be a great opportunity for everybody to come together and impact the election. Okay, Lisa talked about how Lisa done already made moves now. She done already made moves and stuff, but I found it funny that she wanted to include Simone in that, I guess, after Simone checked her. So Contessa was like, girl, is this a you event, everybody event? Like, what kind of event is this? Are you guys working together? Are we working together? And Lisa was like, yeah, we're all supposed to be working together, but Simone calls her out and says, no. Okay, we don't appear to be working together because Lisa has already gotten started. So when that was said, Lisa felt the need to name drop and say why I've already talked to Oprah because I wanted Oprah to be a part of it. Okay, and then I talked to See the God, and I wanted See the God, Charlemagne the God, to be a part of it too, and he said yes. And I also got in touch with Angela Rye as well because, you know, she said she'll do it too. So that's all I was doing, really. You know, I was trying to go ahead and pull in some big names, you know, people that I may have access to that you may not have access to, Simone. So Kari thought it would be a great time for her to try and name drop and talk about how she worked with Mariah Carey. And everybody just sat up there and laughed in her face because it was funny. It was funny. She wanted to talk about when she worked with Mariah Carey and use that as in her defense, trying to use that in Lisa Nicole's defense. But everybody was up there cracking, laughing at her like, girl, go somewhere with this. Go have a seat, ma'am. Okay. Heavenly asked her, girl, did Mariah know that she was working with you, even though you was working with her? Girl, Heavenly had me screaming up there. I was just tickled. So then we see Lisa Nicole pull up a bag, a Chanel bag, talking about she had a gift, but I knew one in that gift bag anyway. Okay, she had some for Heavenly. Heavenly was not featuring her, so Heavenly went ahead and left and went outside. She was like, girl, you full of it. So Lisa had Simone read a text message coming from Heavenly because Heavenly was like, girl, how about you and I both step on the scale and we'll see who the smallest woman is out of both of us, honey. Oh my God, child. And so, of course, Heavenly left. So Simone, I believe it was, ran after Heavenly and said, girl, she got a gift for you. Girl, you don't want your gift? Heavenly said, I don't want a thing that she got for me, honey. I ain't got time because she played too much. She trash. I'm not going to deal with it. Contessa goes outside, tries to have this same conversation with Heavenly, and then said, well, hey, how about this? How about you just come inside? Tell her, hey, I really appreciate whatever, you know, but I declined the offer or something. So Contessa was able to try and convince Heavenly to come inside. Well, while they were out there talking to Heavenly, trying to get her to come back in, okay, Jackie and Toya gets into it. Okay, now let me say this real quick before I go on. Lisa Nicole says that she don't believe nobody should be fat shaming. And I'm like, you bitch. First of all, I cannot stand seeing Lisa Nicole on this show. That's number one. Number two, you started this. You started it. You started this, and then now you want to talk about somebody not being fat shamed when Heavenly, as soon as she got on that horse last week, you start talking about her weight and her body, but then now you feel like nobody should be body shamed. You're a clown, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and move on to Toya digging in Jackie's ass, because Jackie sits up here and loves trying to check other people about stuff, but when it comes to Heavenly, she don't say nothing, and that's the reason that she and Simone had got into it. Okay, because you're not checking Heavenly. You feel the need to go to everybody else and tell them how they're supposed to be, but we rarely see you check Heavenly on how Heavenly needs to be. And that's what Toya was calling Jackie out for, about her being an enabler. So Jackie tells her, girl, until you call yourself out, honey, don't be trying to say anything to me. Okay, she said this whole attitude and this anger that you've been presenting to us this whole season is very unattractive. Okay. And she said, she told Toya, girl, you're not going to get me to agree with you or think the way that you think, so you might as well go ahead and cancel it. Toya was like, I'm not trying to get you to think like me or anything, but I'm trying to get you to be honest and see for what it is and call it out like you do with everybody else, okay? So Heavenly comes back in. Okay, she go ahead and have her seat at the table. She's chilling. Toya done call Heavenly a pit. And then what Jackie said she's not a pet, and then Toya said I ain't call her no pet, I call her a pit. And I'm just like, girl, what a pit is a pet. It is what it is. And so both of the ladies ended up leaving and going off to the side to have a conversation, Jackie and Toya. So when they go off to have this conversation in the bathroom, Toya opens up to Jackie to say that she is the one that has known Heavenly the longest. She's known Heavenly for 12 years. With her knowing Heavenly for 12 years, she brought Heavenly to this group. I don't remember none of that, but I believe what Toya is saying, okay? She said that Heavenly has constantly and consistently taken jabs at her husband and everything that he does, okay? That is definitely something that Heavenly has done over the years. She takes shots at everybody. I don't feel like she just come at Toya. I feel like she has taken shots at a ton of you ladies and y'all relationships and what y'all got going on, because Heavenly does believe that she's perfect. She believes her family is perfect, and she damn sure believes her husband is perfect. Therefore, she believes her marriage is perfect. Okay, so I don't feel like she just simply attacked Toya, but I feel like this is something universal that Heavenly gives out to everybody. But Toya does not like it, and it's becoming a problem for her. And Heavenly won't apologize, but she'll continue to go on and on and on with her attacks or whatever. But if you ask me, I just feel like Toya is at a place where she's lost a lot of friends. Toya brings people on this show, and once she's brought quite a few people onto the show, and once she bring them onto the show, they end up going out getting to know other women, and then they flip on her, and Toya just doesn't like that, and the fact that she don't really got the loyalty that she may want. But I feel like when you bring a person to the show, you gotta know the possibilities of the fact that they're not gonna be cool with you. I mean, look at Mariah. You know what I'm saying? Mariah brought all y'all to the show, and where she at? She got pushed out. So much so y'all didn't even want to film with this lady or anything, even though I still feel like they should bring Mariah back, in my opinion. But, you know, it was a bit awkward. So now I feel like Toya is feeling a little bit of what Mariah may have been feeling, and Toya losing her friends. And I feel like she probably hasn't necessarily grieved the friendships that she's lost, because she's had to film with these same ladies. So it's like antics after antics after antics after antics. I don't think she really took the time out to I feel like grieve the friendships, and maybe she shouldn't try to grieve the friendships because she has to film with them and they friendships are so on and off or whatever. But y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below. I could have missed the mark completely, you know, but I would love to hear y'all thoughts and comments about what you think about Toya's assessment of her friendships and the dealings with she and in Heavenly. Y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below, okay? That wraps up my review on Married to Medicine, okay? I'm Jamie, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter at Jamie, that's me. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.